Man, appreciate everybody for joining us once again. You know what this is, unless you've been living under a rock. You hear that probably a little bit too often. Deshaun Tate with you here. Tate's Take, the podcast. Find it anywhere you find your favorite podcast, that being iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Red Circle, the whole nine. Also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, a little bit of everywhere and anywhere that you can kind of think of. So no excuses for not subscribing to the what we like to call the best, the most informational, the most educational, and the most entertaining basketball content that you can find anywhere on the planet in the form of a podcast. And obviously going to talk about what else. Obviously, basketball is draft week. We are, oh my goodness, how many days away? 5 days away, I think it is. So we're going to dive right in, of course. And I told some people, maybe not so many people, I was still trying to confirm some things with my guests, but I'm glad that he had time for us because I know it's a busy week for him too. We got my dude, man, Mr. Yoda himself. Nonetheless, want to bring my boy. There you go, Mr. Hashtag Talk Soon. Rashad Phillips, man, a UAD alum, got his uniform hanging up in the Raptors and all that good stuff, man. I'm just let me say this first, man. I don't know you that well, but I know enough to know that I've seen your content and some different things that you've been doing within the media business, man. And I'm happy to see it. I like to see good things happen to good people, and maybe not say that I like to see bad things happen to bad people, but I love seeing good things happen to good people. And I consider you to be one of those people, man. So congratulations so far on everything you got going. What's popping?
Oh, man, I can't call it, man. I really appreciate you having me on your platform. It's always an honor to be able to exchange dialogue with another intelligent brother like yourself.
Man, I appreciate that, dude. I appreciate the kind gesture and the compliment, dude. And I know it's been some people that I know I've talked to. It's like, man, you got to get this dude on your podcast, man. So I want to ask you this first before we start getting into the basketball stuff. Okay. Obviously, you are a sports talk host, a prospects specialist. Also, by the way, make sure that y'all go and check them out from Sports Talk 2319. Catch them on Twitter at RP3Natural. You've got a daughter, and I see some stuff that you be putting up there, dude. And you like training her like crazy. I got a soft spot for the little girls, man. I've always been that way. Dude, she can ball, dude. Like talk to me about kind of like, did you force her to kind of play, or is that just something she kind of picked up on her own?
She kind of picked it up on her own, man. You know, I got two daughters. I have a 14-year-old who's a gymnast who doesn't like basketball at all.
Okay.
She's a pretty good gymnast, but then my 8-year-old, you know, luckily she picked it up and said, "Hey, Dad, I really want to play basketball. I love it." She watches it. She has an imagination. So it's kind of a match made in heaven because I gotta. They always say you need a son, you know, to play basketball, right?
Yeah.
But I got a daughter who actually loves basketball just as much as I do. So it's just, I mean, she's really talented, and me being a trainer myself, it just kind of makes perfect sense, and it goes in perfect harmony. So I actually enjoy watching her grow.
Now, I told the people, sports talk host and prospect specialist, I swear, dude is like a talent evaluator, trainer, scout, personality. I half jokingly say sometimes Twitter debate engager, like a little bit of everything. Cause we gonna loosen it up on this one, and just to confirm that we gonna keep it loose. I'm a Lansing dude. Okay, you played at UAD for the Titans. Now, there's a dude, and I'm sure that you're familiar with Moneyball. You was a teammate of his, Des Ferguson. Yes. You got one that's fairly mild, if that's okay. Give me a Des Ferguson story that nobody's ever heard. It's only right being from Lansing. I had to ask it.
Well, first of all, Desmond Ferguson is probably the best catch and shoot player that I've ever played with. He was such a joy. Not only as a teammate, but outside of the court. I mean, we got a chance to just spend time together. What he's been able to build over there at Moneyball, just really love what he stands for. He's been continuing to reach out to the community and just do great things. His younger brother Ron, like I mean, just a great family in itself. But there's so many stories about Dez. there. He's gonna be mad at me for this one, but
because I'm gonna tag him. I'm gonna tag him for sure.
So we were playing Butler. Okay, so in my career, in my 4 years, I've only lost one game at Callahan Hall in my entire 4 years in college.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yes, 50-1. And the one loss we had, we lost to Butler, and it was a really bad game that all of us had, right? So this is how I knew we were going to lose this game. And
okay.
So we're in the second half, and it was really my fault why this happened to Dez. It wasn't his fault. It was all my fault. But the crowd saw his embarrassment, but it was actually my fault.
Okay.
So we're on defense. I think we're down like 3. We get a deflection, a steal. So we get our hand on the ball's rolling. Me and Dez both chasing the ball. Dez scoops it up, and he takes 2 dribbles. And I turn around and say, Dez, watch your back, like kind of whispered it to him. So Dez glances over as he's dribbling, and he palms the ball, and he takes off from like almost a dotted line, right? He's like flying through the air like Dr. J.
Okay.
And he hangs himself.
Oh, so he went for the dunk. He didn't try and Iceman Pearl it.
He tried to dunk it, but the reason he took off so far is because I told him somebody was chasing him. And probably if I wouldn't have said that, he wouldn't have took off so far. So when he missed that dunk, I knew that we were going to lose that game. And it was because of my mistake of telling him that somebody was behind him. The player wasn't behind him like they were going to catch him. But I still saw a blue jersey, and it wasn't ours. So I just was alerting him, and he hung himself on the basket. So that's my fault, Dez. I never apologized to you for putting you in that situation. Everybody at UAD, when Dez missed that dunk, it was clearly my fault.
Cuz over there trying to make amends and make sure that he knows, if not nothing else, man, it was on him, bro. So it's all good. No matter how many years later it is, long as we get it out the way, man. So it's official at this point. Rashad, you're known for really putting out there a lot of the talent that's coming into drafts and coming out of high school, going into college and so forth, working a lot of these guys out and all that type of good stuff. And I see some posts that you mentioned where you're way ahead of the curve. Okay. You're proactive and you are very aware of some of these guys that are going to end up being some of the best players at the next level. Who are some of those players that maybe flew under the radar, that you didn't see, that you may have missed out on? I know at one point, and I'm not sure if Luka was one of those guys, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if Luka is one of those guys, let's push him to the side as an exception. Who are any of the other guys possibly that happened with you?
That's a great question. The last 3 or 4 years, I've really had my ear to the street where I kind of have a grip on pretty much all of the prospects. But for maybe I didn't miss a person, but maybe misevaluating a player every now and then. Because in the business that I'm in, when you evaluate 200 people a year, you're gonna miss, 15
something.
20. Yeah. You're gonna miss because it's just part of the business. So I mean, Luka is one that I maybe misevaluated. But there's, pretty much kids that have made it to the NBA, I've pretty much had my, my stamp on them. From Fred VanVleet to Damian Lillard to, all of the players that come out, because it's kind of what I specialize in, is really tapping in to the players that have superstar potential, but's not getting the big platform love that they get. So it's really rare for me for a kid to slip past me without me knowing who they are, because it's what I specialize in.
Let me ask you this, and this might seem like it's stepping away from the court a little bit, but it's definitely not. You have this platform, okay? It is the Sports Talk 2319, okay, and .com, by the way, for those of you who are wondering. What are some of your long-term goals and aspirations with that? What is the end goal? What do you want people to take away when they subscribe or listen for the first time? How do you want to be remembered, and how did all that get started?
Yeah, I really don't have any goals. Okay.
Okay.
I want to explain that. I don't have any goals. I do have a purpose. And I think my purpose is to be a voice of the voiceless. When you come to sportstalk2319.com, you're going to get something that nobody else really can deliver from their platform because of the uniqueness of what Sports Talk 2319 stands for. The 2319 is 2,319 points. That's the amount of points I scored in college, which is a record today, but it's also a numerical representation of overcoming adversity, breaking down barriers, and being and standing out. So again, I don't have a goal. Like, here's my goal for Sports Talk, but I do have that was my purpose for Sports Talk. It's just to continue to be a voice and to be a platform for the organic stories of basketball players that don't get a chance to really echo their greatness on other platforms.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that. Not only do you do a good job at that, but you've got something on there called the Circuit, which essentially I believe is what the podcast itself, season ticket you've got on there as well. And you kind of, and I'm not sure exactly if there's a title for this or if I've kind of already said it, but where you're kind of like highlighting retired players' careers to an extent. And I think that that's dope, dude. It's super, really awesome idea that you came up with, and maybe not necessarily need you to elaborate so much on that, but more so want to give you your flowers on that, because I just think that it's such a really dope idea, actually. You've also thrown some different words around in regards to I was watching something of yours and paying attention when it comes to Jaden Hardy, which we saw last night. You called him 6-star. Elaborate on that a little bit. Plus, I think I've seen some things regarding like 3-level scoring, talking about players at all 3 levels being able to score the basketball and things of that nature. What do those definitions entail? Elaborate on that.
Yeah, that's great question. Just again, the season ticket is ran by Alec Kinsley. He's one of my partners. He's fantastic. One of my right-hand man who does a terrific job of helping me keep my ear to the street as far as the grassroots concerned. But the Legend Circle is what I call the stories that I have done with the retired players. It's a documentary interview series that I'm going to continue because I believe that those stories need to be restored and told the right organic way. Again, my purpose, Sports Talk 2319, is to be the voice, voiceless. But when you look down at the grassroots level, like you asked with Jaden Hardy, Jaden is from Detroit. I've been knowing his father for almost 30 years. We go way back. So I got a chance to spend time with not just Jaden, but his older brother, Amari, who's also a terrific player that just transferred to Oregon, who was one of my favorite college players as well. But I got a chance to spend time with both of those kids, Amari and Jaden, and just, being a trainer myself, being on the floor, watching his ability and being able to decode his skill requisite, I was able to come up and say, look, this kid isn't a 5-star. This kid is a 6-star. And I have to give credit to my man, Runner Report, who does a terrific job of evaluating talent out in Atlanta, in the Georgia state area. He brought it to my attention that when there's a kid that is beyond. You there? Sorry.
No, it's all good. Still here.
Sorry, my phone rung. Sorry. But I have to give credit to Runner Report because he does a terrific job in the state of Georgia, in the Atlanta area, of evaluating kids. So I called him about Jaden Hardy, and we were exchanging information, and he was like, we should call him a 6-star because he's beyond what a 5-star is. He's a 6-star. And that's when I started to say Jaden 6-star Hardy, because he's just better than just the top of the top at the high school level. again, now the terms that I like to use to explain the extraordinary are 4-level scores. And there's only a few 4-level scores that even walk the earth.
Okay.
I was a 4-level scorer. I was
okay.
Guys that could really score the ball as soon as they cross half court. That's the 4th level. That's the parking lot.
Okay.
And then as you get closer to the 3-point line, that's the 3rd level. And then the mid-range is the 2nd level. And obviously the close range is the 1st level. So the 4-level score goes to guys like Trae Young, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard. Jaden Hardy is a 4-level scorer. Guys that can actually live out there.
And Rashad Phillips, of course, you say, you're right.
I was a 4-level scorer.
There you go.
Not a lot of us walk the earth. Not a lot. We're like UFOs. So I started to use that term just to have fun with it, you know, and play around with it. And I love that I'm starting to hear 4-level score and all of that kind of come across the TV screens and announcers using it, and people are using it in their scouting reports. I want people to understand this. I'm not mad at any of that stuff.
Okay.
I actually love it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love
sure.
to see that the dialogue that I'm sharing, because I'm sharing that dialogue and I want people to use it, but just understand where it came from.
Where it came from. That's it. That's all I want you to do. Get the flowers, bro, when we're due. The same way all of us will, man. Rashad Phillips, Sports Talk host from Sports Talk 2319 and prospect specialist as well. Remember to follow him on Twitter. This is a dude that you want to follow this dude on Twitter. If you love 94 feet long, 50 feet wide, 22 feet and 1 1/4 inches on the perimeter, but that's for college. 23 feet 1 3/4 inches out on the perimeter for the NBA. And if the rim is 10 feet tall, you definitely want to check out some of his stuff at RP3 Natural, at RP3 Natural. I want to get back to some high school stuff, but I do want to ask you a question. I want you to explain this right here to our viewers, because this is something that's going to be taking place. Obviously, everybody knows about the NBA draft coming up next week on Wednesday. Where I'm not really sure if there's a clear-cut number one. I guess you could share that if you want necessarily, but I don't want you to give away too much. But this is something that's going to be really awesome. I've already kind of got my draft stuff already in place, so I'm not going to be able to watch it, but I do like to support stuff that other people got going on. Plus, I know Max Van Auken a little bit, and more so Daryl LeBerry. We've got a pretty cool little relationship. So explain exactly what this is to some of the people so they can be sure to check it out.
Yeah, we're gonna basically have our own NBA draft show. Myself, and I got my great surrounding with Daryl LeBerry, Kate Constable, Zach Ramey, Max Van Auken, and SUV TV. I mean, they've done a terrific job of running around in the digital space and really creating opportunities. Just a fantastic, well-run production team. I love working with them. But again, when you look at the NBA draft, there's not a lot of coverage. Okay, there's not a lot of coverage. It's never been a lot of coverage for the NBA draft over the years. I mean, just from the beginning, it's always kind of been one channel covers. And for me, I just thought that there's something wrong with that, because getting your draft information just from one perspective, I think it pigeonholes everybody's thought process.
Sure.
You know, you're just getting all your information from one big platform, but it's like, well, why do we have to see the draft from only one perspective?
Right.
I think the NBA draft needs to expand, and that's what we're trying to do over at SUV TV, is give people another outlet, another perspective, to really see how the NBA draft works, and other people that have studied the prospects and give their assessment on that. So that's what we're doing. I'll be in Atlanta in a couple of days with my crew. Atlanta is like my second home, so I'll be excited to be there. I love my Atlanta Hawks, obviously, and with Trae Young and company. So I'll be right at home for the draft show.
Man, I'm glad you said that. And you might have to let me know when you're gonna be around, man. I have to pull up or something. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're a I don't know if you're a Magic City Monday dude. Not that I am by any means, but you know, I always like to kick around a couple cold beverages with the homies, man, and get some Lou Will lemon pepper wings and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I heard they got a great chicken salad there too. So we may have to do that, man. I'm gonna have to try that Caesar chicken salad and the wings.
Yeah. A little skinny dude like me can't do nothing with no salad, man. I'm gonna need some real meat on me, man. But nonetheless, I kind of want to dive in. I know that we talked about 20 minutes, so I don't want to keep you too long before we have to get up off here. But the college basketball season is gonna tip off on Thanksgiving Eve. Who are some of maybe these, however many you want, collegiate players and or teams that you have high expectations for that will thrive or maybe surprise some people this year?
Yeah, I don't want to give it all away, but
Okay.
but I'm excited for the college season. Hopefully, we could, with the virus going around, it's going to be really hard to really finish the season. I really don't see it finishing the way it should.
Mhm.
But there are so many great kids. I love, I'm gonna give you my sleeper kids. Obviously, I like Farron Hunt from SMU, AJ Wilson, George Mason, Jordan Burns, Romeo Weems, Isaiah Stevens, Kamar Baldwin, Jordan Adams, Kyle Lofton. Like, I could go on for days, because college is my wheelhouse. So
Yeah. You and me both. We might have to talk off the air because we can go. We can do this.
yeah. But just to name a few, Antoine Davis is, one of my favorite, maybe my favorite college player at the University of Detroit. So
Mhm.
obviously, I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. Again, college. I'm a huge college basketball advocate. It's just a pure place from a player standpoint.
Sure.
They give everything. They don't make a dollar. They play for
Mhm.
pride. They play for sweat. They play for joy. They play for their families. And
Mhm.
that's what I love about the college game.
Okay, so I have and this, I promise this is going to be quick so we can get you out of here. But I do have a little real small segment. It's called Quick Release, where I maybe ask you about 6 or 7, maybe 8 questions, and you answer them with one-word answers.
Got you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump on into that
Do
as
it.
I'm kind of bringing that up on my lower third here. There we
Okay.
go. There we go.
Good.
Quick release with Rashad Phillips. All right. And one-word answers if possible. Okay.
One word. Got you.
All right. One player from each level, one from high school, one from college, one from pro, that nobody's talking nearly enough about.
High school, I would say. High school, I would say Jaden Hardy. But
I love him.
yeah. College, I would say Mason Falcon.
From where?
Western Carolina.
Gotcha.
And NBA, I would say, that's a good one. I would say in the NBA, Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray. Okay. And I don't necessarily want you to give this away if you don't want to, because I know you got a draft show. I didn't think about that in advance. I was going to say, who do the Hawks select at number 6? Now, if you don't feel comfortable giving that here on my show, which would be great and welcomed, what type of player do you think that they should go and get?
I think they should go after Obi Toppin. I do. I know a lot of Atlanta Hawk fans are kind of on the fence with Obi, but I just believe Obi brings a maturity to the Hawks.
Okay.
I believe, he's the National College Player of the Year. He gives them extra punch. You combine them with John Collins and Cam Reddish and Hunter and Trae Young and those guys. I just think he's going to be tremendous. So I like Obi Toppin a lot. But I think in free agency, and I'm going to say it on your show, so make sure you hold this for later, okay?
I promise I will.
I believe Rajon Rondo will end up in Atlanta and will be the backup guard. and help the Atlanta Hawks get to the playoffs.
Okay,
Talk
duly
soon.
noted. Yeah, we going to talk soon. Hashtag talk soon. I'm going to make sure I jot that one down because while you said Rajon Rondo, I personally was under the impression of somebody like a Donovan Mitchell at some point. So I don't know. We'll see. And some people are going to question this one. I promise I wasn't drinking before the show. Now,
Okay.
I'm always one that have said I'd be the one to take RJ Hampton over LaMelo Ball.
Ooh.
You go, I know you worked out with him and so forth. You go Hampton or do you go Ball?
I'm gonna say no comment.
Okay, there we go. Cool. Let's go. Will or should KJ Martin get drafted? Will or should?
Should.
Okay. How many times have you heard the comparisons to about being baby Iverson?
1,000.
All right. Will Imani Bates play in a Michigan State uniform?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Last question. Between Imani Bates, Chet Holmgren, and Jaden Hardy, if you're starting a team,
yeah,
who do you take?
I'm gonna take the kid with 6 stars behind his name.
Duly noted. I guess hashtag talk soon, right? That's the way to end it. Man, appreciate you, man. My dude, Rashad Phillips, for coming in with us, man, joining us here on the show. Remember, people, you're doing yourself a huge disservice if you don't do this. Go and subscribe to his pod. Make sure that you follow him on social media at RP3 Natural. That is at RP3 Natural. Dude is a basketball aficionado, man. Sports talk host and prospect specialist as well. Thank you so much. Overly gratefully, man, appreciative of you coming on and joining us in the locker room, brother.
Man, I really appreciate you having me, and this won't be my last time. Hopefully you invite me back.
Oh, of course, man. Looking forward to it. But we got to get them lemon pepper wings out the way first so we can have some stories to tell, man. And be looking for a phone. Looking for a phone call from Dez too, man. Appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah, talk soon.
All right, good deal. Hey, that was my dude, man. Appreciate him for coming on. Rashad Phillips, man, bringing some really good information to the show and some good content. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Make sure that you go and subscribe. You never know who you're going to get on this platform. I promise you. We've had a little bit of everybody, and I don't want to discount or leave anybody out. We've had some Jay Billises. We've had Rob Parkers. I mean, we've had so many different people, friends of mine, former colleagues of mine that are brilliant minds when it comes to basketball. And if you guys enjoy this, please do me a huge favor. Share it out to anybody you know, friends, family, enemies, mamas, grandmamas, the whole nine. Do me a huge favor and do that. It takes 30 seconds probably. Instead of waiting to see this to pop up, you just happen to be on social media at the right time. It gives you a notification to your phone. So feel free to go ahead and knock that out with just an easy press of a button. You get a 5-star rating, up to 5-star rating rather. Fingers crossed on getting 5. But if you enjoyed it or if you didn't so much, whatever the case may be, feel free to leave a rating as well. In addition to the fact you can also leave some comments on what you think about the show too. So appreciate him for joining us. Appreciate you guys for joining us. For those of you who haven't joined us yet, but are going to be joining us in the future, who are hearing this a little bit late, make sure that you tell a friend, man. And I appreciate you for joining me and helping a young man's dreams, I guess, just kind of come true, whatnot. The NBA draft coming up on next week. We've got some really awesome people that are lined up to come here on the podcast. I mean, we've got Kobe Dant out of the West Coast who talks a crap load of college basketball. He's going to be joining us. On just yesterday, we had Tom Noy talking about Notre Dame basketball. We've got we've got Troy Jackson coming up as well to join us and talking about some Notre Dame hoops as well. Kristen Peak, who follows all levels of basketball, specifically knowing her on the high school circuit, going to be joining us on Sunday. Her and Dant joining us on Sunday. Ken Segura, the beat writer for Georgia Tech, is going to Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He's going to be joining us as well. That's going to be coming up on the 16th. And Lloyd Pierce, hopefully, keeping the fingers crossed for next Friday on the 20th, that is, joining us to talk a little bit about the draft, amongst other things. So you never know who you're going to get, and so I really hope that you guys feel free and have enjoyed this part of it. Remember, you can always go and follow on social media at Tate's Take Hoops, TATES TAKEHOOPS. Almost forgot how to spell my own hashtag where basketball lives. And really appreciate you guys for joining me. So remember, anywhere you find your favorite podcast is where you can find Tate's Take. That being Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Red Circle, Stitcher, streaming live on YouTube as well. We will see you guys on, what is this, tomorrow, that we have another guest. So as we get closer and closer to basketball being tipped off, we're going to be piling up a lot more guests and bringing on a whole lot more content, which I like to call the best. Don't forget, the best, the most entertaining, the most informational, and the most educational basketball content on the planet in the form of a podcast. So thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you probably in somewhere around 24 hours or so in a minute.